Welcome to Free2talk TV. I'm James, the kind of host with the most and no hair. I'm joined by my normal crew. Got Owen, Richard, Ao, Charlotte, and Rioni. But we have a special guest yet again, Adam Blow, who has chosen to join us today to join in our conversation and answer some questions about who he is and what he does. But is everybody happy today? Owen, are you happy today?
Yeah, I am very, very happy today.
Yay! Richard, are you happy today?
Yes, very happy.
you just haven't got the happy face, Richard. You're like, yeah, and what? And what? We'll burn it. Rioni, are you happy today? She might be dealing with the baby. That's fine.
Can you hear me?
Oh my God. Yes, we can hear you. Yeah, you just muted yourself. Charlotte, are you happy?
My internet's saying not, but yeah.
Oh, yep, cool. No worries. There might be a little bit of a delay. We're used to technical issues on this program. It's fine. And the baby is happy as well. We like that. Ao, I feel like you're always happy because you've got this laugh that always makes me happy when you laugh, and it's just like it.
Anytime it's sunny, I'm happy.
Yeah, I've been out in the sun today. It's very warm. And Adam, are you happy? Are you happy to be here?
I'm very happy to be with you all.
Now we worked out the technical difficulty of you moving rooms in. Are you in Angel Square? Are you?
Yes. Yeah, I am.
Right, so we need to write to the new Unitary Council about sorting out their internet so they can all be guests on our show. That's what we need to do. Yeah. Right, so if anyone is watching, as we're having the conversation, you can put your comments up. I can show them. You know, it's as long as they're appropriate to a degree. But if you want to join the conversation or say hi, please do. We'll always try and say hi back. But today, so we're joined by Adam. We're going to ask him what's his name and where he comes from, and a few other questions. We're also going to talk about the NHS data. I'm going to say debacle, but purely because it's alliterated with data. That's all. That's the only reason. What it means for us and everybody else in the country, and also the delay of full opening in England. So, first off, Adam, what's your name and where do you come from?
So my name's Adam Brown. I was born in Northampton, but I grew up in Weedon and Flor. Excellent.
And what do you do, Adam?
So actually, I sort of have three jobs, to be honest.
So
whoa. I'm a local councillor. I'm the councillor for Bugbrook Ward, but I'm also the deputy leader of the new West Northamptonshire Council, and I have what's called a portfolio, so some responsibilities for certain political areas. So mine are housing, which is things like what kind of houses we want to see built in the area, and then leisure and culture, so there will be leisure centres, how we can help our local sports clubs and cultures of arts, theatres, museums, tourism in the area, promoting that side of things.
So you know when everyone says people are coming over here and stealing all our jobs, that's not actually happening because you're being selfish and you've got three jobs.
Fairness, I can't have the other two without having the first one.
I mean, because before I became a youth worker, I kind of had loads of different jobs because I kind of acted as a bit of a consultant. At one point, I had 7 jobs. and that's what people took the mickey out of me. James, you're being selfish here. Lawrence, Ola, back to you. I hope you're okay, Lawrence. I saw your stuff that you had to go to hospital the other day. I'm glad to see you come on though. Well, okay. Lawrence is a long-time viewer, Adam, so he's already got a comment. Housing, stop building inappropriate housing and fix the thousands boarded up in the Eastern District instead. Well, Lawrence does not
gone straight for it.
He's gone straight for it.
No, Lawrence makes a fair point, to be honest, and actually, bringing back houses that aren't being used into use is one of the main things that we look to try to do. So I know quite often you go around certain areas of Northampton and you see houses that are out of use, and sometimes they're not being used for quite a long time. But that's one of the many things that we try and solve, and because we know there are loads of people out there who are on housing waiting lists, or can't afford houses because there aren't enough to go around, and so we understand. I understand the frustration.
I mean, because you're fairly new to that the housing, because I'm sure when we saw each other last, you talked about like the brown belt and the green belt, the difference. Could you just explain the difference for that for the young'uns on here?
Yeah, so brown belt is generally speaking land that's been used before. It might be old factories or old business sites, or simply housing that's fallen out of use, and you want to build new houses on it. The green belt is generally more rural land. Traditionally, many years ago, there was some protection in law for areas around big towns and cities to stop the little villages on the outside of those towns and cities just merging into the towns. That's the difference between the two.
Wicked. Okay. You do sound really busy, right? So Owen, Richard, which one of you wants to go first with your little question?
I'll go first. So you mentioned that you're covering the leisure centres, youth centres, I'm guessing town halls and theatres as well. What sort of background do you already know about the situation with theatres, and how are you going to just evolve that to be a bit more accessible for other people?
Really good question. So I've always been a regular theatre goer myself. My wife is involved in a lot of theatre productions. She's a singer, and she actually teaches a lot of young people singing and guitar. So I know quite a lot of people in those worlds. Obviously, in Northampton we've got some fantastic theatres, not just Royal and Derngate, which is the biggest of the lot. We've got the Deco and some really fantastic independent theatres as well. So first of all, biggest issue for any of those people is going to be funding. Having enough money to keep the doors open, get new shows onto the stage. So the Derngate gets direct funding from the council, and so then they get that funding matched by a government body called Arts Council England. So we want to keep that going, and off the back of that, we want to see not just the Derngate, but other theatres being able to host youth events, get them involved with the schools. It's really about getting young people engaged and energised in theatre, because theatres bring things to life. So you might be studying a play or a book at school, and if you go along to see it at the theatre, it brings it all to life, and it's a really engaging experience, and you can learn about history and all sorts of different things through theatrical productions, and then that spins off into music and all sorts of different arts. So it's really, really wide-ranging benefits.
Wicked.
Right, that's brilliant. That is brilliant.
For full disclosure, just to point out that Owen does do drama, so that's why he's interested. He's like, forget the sports centres, I want to know about the theatres.
Yeah.
I did GCSE drama, but that was a long time ago. And I think I only got a C. Might have been a B. I can't even remember the grade. I clearly wasn't that good at acting.
Bless you. Richard, what about you? You got a question?
Yeah, why did you want to become a counsellor?
Sorry, I didn't catch Richard's question there.
Why did you want to become a counsellor?
What made me want to become a counsellor? Right,
yeah.
So that's quite a long story. So basically, I've always been interested in politics. I was lucky enough to have a family that was always sort of interested in issues. And actually, my mum's uncle and auntie were local councillors many years ago. So I think it was always relevant when I was growing up. And then I think I was sat on Twitter one day arguing with a random person somewhere in the country.
Was it me?
No, it wasn't. We didn't know each other then. Although it could have been you, but I wouldn't have known you at the time. So it might all be your fault, James, that I'm now involved in what I'm involved in.
I got a conservative into politics.
Oh no.
But no, I just thought there was a general election coming up, and I thought, well, I don't just want to sit behind my keyboard arguing with people on the internet. there's a way that I can go out and make a difference, which is going out and campaigning for one of the local MPs in Northampton. And so I went out and I met a load of people and I started knocking on doors and delivering leaflets. And very quickly, during that campaign, it became quite obvious that a lot of the issues that people are really concerned about aren't the massive world issues that they debate down in London. They're actually the local council issues that affect people's day-to-day lives and, you know, get people really riled up. And it's those little things that people really care about and want to see improved. And so that was sort of my pathway into then standing as a councillor. And it was, you know, really just all about sort of volunteering and wanting to make a difference. And you know, I always think that if you're not prepared to stand up and do that and, you know, try and do the best that you can, then you know, who else is going to? You know, it starts with you. And I think there's a famous political program called The West Wing, which is quite old now, but it's all about American politics. But so there's a quote from that says, decisions are made by people who show up. And, you know, that's true of voting, that's true of people making decisions in public life, you know, at council meetings. And, you know, if you don't show up, if you don't use your voice, whatever beliefs you have, whatever part of the political spectrum you come from, then other people are going to be making those arguments and making those decisions for you.
I mean, Lawrence, I've seen your question. I'll bring it up in a second. Once I've given everyone else a chance to answer the question if they wish. I mean, I think you bringing up like getting there and voting is so important because, I mean, we spoke about it, and like your basically district had one of the highest votes in Northampton, didn't it, for the percentage, whereas the average was still really, really low. I mean, is it your job to get people into politics, Adam? There's a question.
Sorry, James, the line broke up really badly then.
Is it your job to get people into politics?
Is it my job to get people into politics?
Yeah.
It's certainly part of my job. You know, again, it comes back to sort of volunteering and doing your bit. You know, if the politicians aren't interested in getting people into politics, then you know, you're going to have a lack of people wanting to do it. I mean,
yeah.
I do think there's a sense of sort of civic responsibility. You know, I think there's a certain duty for people to take an interest and get involved. But you know, I've watched previous shows of yours, like after the local elections, and you were talking about not enough information being out there, people not really learning about how politics works when they're at school or college. And that was similar when I was at school. You know, we didn't have an awful lot of education about, you know, how decisions are made in Parliament, how local councils work. And so I think there's a lot to do in education, you know, to make people more aware of how these decisions are made and how they affect their lives. But, you know, certainly, you know, hopefully by coming on shows like this, by, you know, visiting schools in my area, by just, you know, speaking to people about what I do, hopefully people might think I'm slightly normal. It might be relevant to them as well.
Oh, mate, hope is eternal. I always hope people will think I'm slightly normal as well. Lawrence, I've seen your last two comments. I'm definitely not sharing them. He's basically gone, come on the blues. Oh, no, I'm not like that. Right, has anyone else got a question for Adam before I go to Lawrence's question that he asked?
Yes, please.
Go.
Oh, go on.
Oh, go on, Ayo. Go on, Ayo.
No, I'm a gentleman. Ladies first.
Ladies first. Go on, Rioni.
You know your job role is every day like different.
So again, I didn't hear the question, I'm afraid.
Oh, can the rest of you hear me?
Yeah. We can see and hear you. It's just he's got a bit of a delay his end. Adam, she asked, because you've got so many different roles, is every day different?
Yeah, completely different. So, like, if I take yesterday, for example, so yesterday I had in the evening, I visited 2 parish council meetings. So parish councils deal with just individual villages, and so, you know, issues that are affecting those villages, like, you know, bins that are broken, or planning applications in the village, or local festivals, that kind of thing. And So I go along and I visit all the parish councils in the area that I represent, because they're the people that know their villages best, and they're able to tell me what's going on there and what concerns them. But then, also I'll have people contacting me as a local councillor, so someone who's there to represent the area, listen to people's problems, what they're concerned about, and basically take those concerns back to the professional people at the council who are called officers. And so I'll have people contacting me, for example, about if they've got a disabled child and they need adaptations to their home, or if there's a big development being proposed to their village that they're not happy about. It could be anything and everything, and it really does vary massively from one day to the next. So some days I'll sort of be going from 9 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. Some days it'll be shorter. Some days it'll be full of meetings. Some days I'll be out traveling to places to meet people who are involved in sort of sports clubs or community associations. And so, that's probably one of the best parts of the job. I get to meet loads of people who are really passionate about what they do, really passionate about Northampton or their village, or just the people that they're working with. People like James, who loves working with all the young people that he's helping out. And so, just that difference, that variation is massively satisfying.
Wicked. I mean, your description of all the different days there is
Thanks.
great. And, on some days, you come on the greatest online TV show ever made, don't you? I mean, absolutely. Right. Ayo, what was your question?
Okay. Thank you. So Adam, I was going to ask you about homelessness. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I was going to ask you about homelessness in Northampton. Part of a charity in Northampton that supports the homeless, and we run winter night shelter. And every year that we've done the night shelter project, we realize that the number of homeless people who access the shelter has been on the increase. And I just want to ask, does the council have any strategy or plan for reducing homelessness in Northampton?
Yeah, absolutely. So the old Northampton Borough Council had their own homelessness strategy. Everything changed during COVID because the government wanted to basically get homeless people into temporary accommodation so that they weren't on the streets at a time of being really medically vulnerable. And so, I'm told that in Northampton, there was actually quite a lot of reduction in the homelessness for that time. Now, that government funding was only temporary. So one of the biggest challenges I'm going to have in the weeks ahead is to put together a new homelessness reduction strategy. And it's not just about rough sleepers. I think a lot of the time people out there sort of think about homelessness and they think about it in the most visible way, which is people sleeping in doorways and being out overnight. But actually, there are lots of especially young people sofa surfing, living in very unstable accommodation with friends or acquaintances, and that's a form of homelessness as well. And we're going to be exploring through the houses that we have at the moment, through the houses that we're going to be building. We've just announced plans to build 170 more homes near the racecourse in Northampton. A lot of those will be social housing, and that will hopefully
You just say on the racecourse
homelessness.
Sorry, did you say on
near the racecourse? Near the racecourse.
Near the racecourse.
Whoa.
You're gonna start making headlines.
I'm just gonna cut Adam off here. He said on the racecourse. Near. Okay, yes, please. Sorry, please carry on.
No, so we're looking at where we can build more houses, where it's suitable to build more houses, so that we can have that suitable, good quality accommodation to offer to people who are on the housing waiting list, homeless in a variety of ways. And actually, the council, does work with some of the charities in Northampton to get information about where people are homeless, where they're most vulnerable. But if you ever want to talk to me about that, then feel free. I'm always happy to talk to people in the charitable sector about what they're doing and what more you think that we can do, because we don't have all the answers. We need to speak to people who are speaking to these people.
How long do you have, Adam? I mean, I'm just gonna interject there because I want to get on some other bits, but I don't envy you trying to find out about the unseen homelessness at all. Because when I worked for the Hope Centre and with Free2talk, we tried to look into it, especially for young people, and it's I don't know if anybody's got the true answer, not just in Northampton but across the country for that issue. Really, it's a massive issue of unseen homelessness. So but obviously you know where to find me, so to carry on that conversation. Adam, Ao, go.
Thank you. I think with the little experience I've had working with the homeless and working on the night shelter, I think I'm not sure if you feel the same way, Adam, that homelessness is not just caused by lack of sufficient houses. That as well, the habits, that people struggle with, that affects them from being able to take care of a property or to maintain tenancy. And I think it's a good suggestion as well if the council wants to look into areas like mental health, and especially drug and addiction. I believe it plays a very huge part it plays a very huge part in factors that causes homelessness. So I believe that there might not be sufficient houses to house people, but there are other things as well that contribute to people being able to sustain tenancy. And I think it will be a very good intervention if the council is looking at investing into projects that deals with drug and alcohol addiction and mental health as well. I think that would be helpful, but I'm not sure if the council is looking in that direction at the moment.
James, can you hear me? I'm sorry, I've lost the sound from everyone now.
Yes.
Okay, so you can hear me.
Yeah,
I
I can
can't
hear
hear
you.
any of you. I did hear most of AO's question about all of the different causes of homelessness and trying to prevent sort of those root causes. And there's actually quite a lot of work that goes on, sort of early intervention, monitoring people who are maybe on the verge of being made homeless through evictions. We deal with an awful lot with schools, especially to monitor vulnerabilities. Teachers very often spot problems before they ever come to the attention of council. So if there's a family that's really suffering, if they're in food poverty, then it's quite often the schools that spot that first, and so. We're very, very, very aware of all of those root causes, but getting on top of them as a local council is a massive challenge. There are so many complex factors that feed into it all. But you're absolutely right, Ao. It's not just that one single factor of having enough houses to go around. It's a hugely difficult area. But James, if you don't mind, I'm going to log out and come back in again, so that hopefully that will solve the sound.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Right, so Lawrence, I've just seen a few of your comments, but just while we wait for him. So James Hill, he came on last week, if you remember, everybody. He annulled my comment where I tried to put words in Adam's mouth. He wants to build houses on the racecourse. This is lunacy. Lunacy. What crazy talk is this? Adam, can you hear us again?
I can. Sorry about
that.
Oh, yeah.
I was just saying how James Hill came on and lolled at my comment about trying to put words in your mouth. Right, Lawrence, we're just going to go on to Charlotte. Sorry, I'm going to miss you out for a question because I just want to. Is that okay? I'm sorry. So Lawrence had a question. Is there a deliberate decision to reduce funding to sporting venues, long-term health habits for young, in favour of more sit-down events and venues? So NGBs aren't funding grassroots as much. So yeah. So I mean, Lawrence, to point out, is very sporty. He loves it. You know, he's still got his SIA license on the doors. Big guy, loves his rugby. You and him would get on like a house on fire, to be honest. I reckon. But yeah. So see what you can answer there.
To be honest, I've not been told of any deliberate decision to move funding like that. I assume by NGBs he means national governing bodies. I'm taking a stab at the acronym there. One of the really annoying things about being in local government is that you're always dependent on MPs in Westminster to decide how much money you've got. A lot of the time, what you can spend it on, because they don't just give you X millions of pounds and say go on, do the best job. Go and spend it how you want. They'll give you little pots of money, and they'll.
Oh no. He just froze. No.
Am I back?
You're back. Yes.
You're back.
We just lost you in conversation. Little pockets of money was where we left off.
Yeah. So we're often very, very restricted in terms of how we can spend money, and we have to bid for money from the government, who will then tell us what we can spend it on. I mean, one thing that actually I was only discussing yesterday, it was Monday yesterday, wasn't it? Was how we can promote local sports clubs, and not just the Cobblers, the Saints, the Steelbacks, big rugby clubs like Old Northamptonians, who've got a lot of money behind them, but village sports teams, the people who are playing sort of minority sports, not just football and rugby, how we can really, as a council, start promoting those and trying to get more people involved, because not everyone's going to enjoy being out on a muddy field playing football or rugby. They might want to be doing judo or badminton or netball or whatever else, something in a big sports hall. So we're going to be trying to think of a way of promoting those less seen sports teams all around the West Northamptonshire area to get more people interested. But that's a good question from Lawrence. It's a really good question.
Wicked.
And he's given me food for thought.
Right. Okay. So we're just going to move on because I want to talk about some big news. Well, it was big news a couple of weeks ago because it's still ongoing, about the selling or the effective possible selling of NHS data. So I'm just going to go round and see what, as if anything, have heard of this. Anybody want to jump in?
I haven't heard of it.
This is my first time hearing it.
See, I'm really good at just finding all these news articles that no one's heard of.
James, I had to go away and research this. So...
I don't believe it. I think, well, I want to bring it up because I think because we've got you guys as young people, and then me, Ayo, and Adam are a bit older. I want to bring it up because I think we've got very different ideas about the effect of this. Okay. So I'm just gonna go out with the stuff. So basically, in 2013, David Cameron, one of the last 87 Tory prime ministers in the last few years, isn't that right, Adam? It's been quite a few.
More or less.
More or less. So they basically put this plan together where, so everyone here goes to the local GP. You tell the GP your medical issues. Your name, your age, where you live. You give all your personal details to the GP. And the idea was they were going to effectively sell that, but also not sell it, that information to third parties. Okay. Now, so that would include all stuff like your diagnoses, your symptoms, stuff to do with your sexual identity, your physical, your mental health, everything. And they were going to sell it to them. Now, originally in 2013, it was a little company set up by Google.
What?
Now, I wouldn't really be comfortable if the NHS gave Google my medical history. Because to be honest, I get enough adverts as it is, let alone Google advertising new medical stuff to me. So that's basically what's happened. Now, recently, in the last, say, month, Boris Johnson has been very sneaky and tried to put a similar thing through again whilst we've been in a pandemic. Now, the question here to everyone, I'm going to ask, do we think that's right? That we should... Well, first off, the question is, should Boris Johnson have tried to sneak that information through without us knowing? Should he do it? Should the government do it? I mean, there has been proof that the information we've been given about coronavirus has obviously helped because we're track and trace and stuff. But should it be done at all? What do you reckon, Owen?
Personal information, especially about our medical issues that we do keep private, because obviously you don't really want to be hearing about someone's medical history unless it's something genuinely serious, like saying that, hey, listen, I've got cancer, this type of cancer, I'm okay. All that sort of stuff, just verbally telling someone. But if it's by someone else and not by the person, that doesn't seem right to me. I think this is, I think for one, overall, selling this type of information online definitely shouldn't happen at all. Second, yeah, Boris is not in the right for this, because if he's trying to sneak it through again, it's like him trying to sneak through that little renovation thing again.
Yeah, Adam, let's not mention wallpaper here. I just want to so Richard's internet has just gone. He just put a message up. I just want to point out my comment about the previous prime ministers. Lawrence said the Conservatives are trying to beat the sugar babes for changing members. Kind of true. I mean I should point out, right, that so there's all this data would be stored supposedly in a safe server, which no one can hack or gain access to, which, as we know in today's society, I don't think that's completely possible. But I feel like if Boris Johnson announced what he wanted to do, I think people would have been less concerned if they were told about it appropriately. Charlotte,
I would agree.
you reckon?
I think if people were sort of told about it and, you know, informed, then maybe the people that wanted to have their data shared and things could have put themselves forward or something. But I think to go behind everyone's back and just sort of try and get it done anyway is a stupid move, because like Owen said, you know, your medical records are private and they're confidential for a reason. And I think, you know, the majority of people wouldn't want them just shared, even if they're not, you know, given to specific people, but just stored anyway. I don't think it's a super idea, really.
Adam, because you went away and actually researched it. Nobody else actually researched anything I talk about. It's quite impressive. I'm gonna set you homework in future.
Yeah, I even went and read the Guardian, James, just to get a cross section of opinion.
Careful, everyone! We're turning him into a lefty.
So firstly, just, you know, on the subject of sneaking stuff through, nothing should be snuck through. You know, no decisions that affect people's lives. You know, whether it's at, you know, council like the one that I'm on, or you know, bit of law, you know, down at Westminster. From what I've read about it, the general principle seems quite sensible, because, you know, you're talking about joining up the data that's held by your GP with the data that's held by the general hospital, effectively. And so using that to give a wider picture of what's going on across the country, so that medical researchers can then make better decisions. And actually the data that the NHS holds as a whole was used to be able to develop the vaccine against COVID-19. It's been used up in Scotland to basically get to the bottom of a link between household smoking and asthma. It was used previously to basically debunk the myth about a link between the MMR vaccine, the measles, mumps and rubella vaccine, and autism, which was a big scare story that went around 20 odd years ago.
Well,
So it all comes down to how well protected that data will be, how many safeguards there are to ensure that it's only used by the right people, and for medical research, for valid purposes, so that it doesn't end up on Google and damaging someone's life because there's something in there that they don't want some random people to know, whether it's their employer or an ex-partner or whatever else, and just those privacy aspects, because the use of data is it's one of these new issues that as we become ever more digital in our lives, politicians are having to grapple with. And you're talking about this is the first generation of politicians maybe that's had to deal with these problems, and I think a lot of the time you're talking about a group of people who aren't, by and large, necessarily technologically savvy. It's getting better. You're getting. People
Boris Johnson.
Into...
Boris Johnson's still on MySpace, isn't he? Only old people will get that joke. See, I can't even tell jokes about digital stuff anymore because nobody will get it.
I tried TikTok the other day, James. It confused
Whoa!
me.
I kind of like it.
Has the world moved on already?
Yeah, it has. Yeah. I mean, weirdly, I was doing some mentoring earlier, and one of my young people, we're talking about what we should do to create our own new thing like TikTok, and you just combine two words together. And I think our favourite that we came up, I just came up with monkey pineapple, and she came up with shoe freaks. Shoe freaks was already taken, unfortunately, but but monkey pineapple, I don't think it is. So next week I would have bought the website. So I mean, everything you say there, Adam, definitely right. So like since 1989, like the NHS being able to store information has enabled them to announce about bowel cancer screening and the positive effects of it. I don't think anybody's denying at all the positive effects of it, but I think when you've got the shadow health secretary and fellow Conservative David Davis, like basically going, whoa there, sweet child of mine, and then threatening like legal action to have it stopped. Now, bear in mind, David Davis, he stopped the 2013 one with David Cameron as well, because he was completely against it because they tried to sneak it through then. I think it's not just a single party issue. I think it's across parties where everyone's going, hold on to your horses for a second. Thing. So Rioni, what about you? What do you think? I mean, because I want to ask you, because you've recently had a baby, and what you think about your details being sold, shared, not sold per se, but shared to that degree.
Now I wouldn't want it personally. I feel like it shouldn't be hidden either. Like, we should be informed, and then if people want to, then they can. But I think we should get given the choice.
Cool. Ayo, anything to add?
To be honest, nothing really more to add. I think it's a private information for a specific reason, and I think I support Rioni that people should be given the choice to share or not to share. I think that's just the appropriate way of going about it, really.
I mean, with that choice, because I'm going to share some stuff for people to read if they want from the comments, the information from NHS Digital about what they do and how to opt out if you want to. I just want to also point out that I think the government were a bit naughty in this by basically telling GPs it was their responsibility to tell patients, in the middle of a pandemic when they're a bit busy doing other things. I just think it's very short-sighted of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Adam, you work in the government. What do you reckon?
I think you're right, James. It's the last thing that GPs need at this moment in time. Anything like this needs to be done carefully, over months. Not just rushed through, pushed through, all the rest of it. And like you say, when you've got people like David Davis, who's always been a big sort of freedom and privacy campaigner, standing up and speaking out against it, then it does send alarm bells ringing. So and we all know the government's record on new computer systems, don't we? So carefully.
It's because I said Boris is still using MySpace. It's, I actually think he's still got an original NES from the 90s, but never mind. But right, Georgia has come on. So some of you folks here this week, hope you guys weeks ago. Well, yes, well, thank you, Georgia, and hello to you. Right, so I'm just going to share through the chat. So what I've just shared is the actual NHS Digital, what they do with the data. Now, this is how to opt out if you want. And then the form, a PDF that you can fill in and opt out if you want. Now, there is a deadline for that. It's meant to be the 1st of September, I believe. 1st of September, so this year, not 2025, so it's still a short space of time. I do suggest just like thinking about it, really. I think that's the biggest thing. Think about it and then go, do I trust my data being stored that way? I think. Right, so from one medical thing to another, so there was something else announced this week. Richard, do you know what it was?
Yeah, lockdown restrictions on the 21st of June got pushed back to 19th of July.
Yeah.
Which I think is the day secondary schools break up.
How is it?
Oh, is it? Yeah, I think it is actually, isn't it?
It's somewhere between there.
Yeah, it does coincide, I think. Now, so do you know what that means, Richard? You know, do you know what you're do you know what you're not allowed to do still?
No.
No. It's fine.
Not off the top of my head.
Not at all. So do you think this delay then is a good idea?
I haven't seen like COVID cases. What the day by day is. I have heard a little bit that it has been going up and there's a new variant of it. So understandable. I just want this to be over.
No worries. Right, other than Adam, because I want to leave you a little bit later. Anyone else got something they want to talk about with regards to that? Do you think it's a good idea with the Delta variant? Before I like kind of go off more of a tangent.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Owen. I think many times with what I've seen many times since the pandemic started is that most of the times the central government have always been reactive instead of preventive. Because I was shocked. I didn't know until a few days ago that our borders are still open to places like India. I thought that when a few weeks ago, a month ago, thereabout, when India was in real crisis with the pandemic, with COVID, I thought that at that point we should have shut our borders. Really?
I thought they were still shut.
Well, there you go. There's Charlotte going, I thought it was shut. Yeah. So
yeah. I thought so as well. But a few days ago, I apparently I got to realize that people still coming in from India, but they are told to isolate, isn't it? But I mean, so if that was, I really struggled to really digest that, to understand that. And now we're going into, people have been looking forward. I mean, there are businesses that have been struggling, you know, there are organizations that have been struggling. People have been looking forward to, you know, to starting life the normal way again on the 21st. But now it's not the case anymore. And I personally think, I may be wrong, but I think that the government has had enough time to learn to be preventative instead of just reacting when things happen. But at the end of the day, we don't have a choice. This is life we're talking about. I think we just have to do it to save lives. But I think we won't be here if the government had actually prevented.
So Owen, Charlotte, or Ione, what anything you want to add to that before we let Adam go?
Well, I have to admit, I personally think just delaying it a little bit longer isn't going to be too much of a bad thing, in my opinion, because it just gives it an extra bit of breathing space to reevaluate something, just to be on the safe side. And the thing about what Richard mentioned, that it was when it becomes to the end of secondary schools, it does time it quite well. it does time it quite well, because once they've finished school, they're pretty much annoyed about it. They want to leave school. They don't want to think about it. And then having these extra things unlock for them, like an open door, it gives them a much more relaxating summer for them before they go back to school. I think that's just like a little minor link that I've just created. But I do see what AO is saying, that the government is being defensive and stuff. But I just agree that, and just a little bit longer, maybe just a month longer, I don't have a disagreement with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the same. I feel like we've gone.
No, I don't.
And just a few more weeks.
Rione doesn't agree. Go, Rione.
Because I feel like it's just like when the 4 weeks come, then they can say it again and again and again and again and again every time the cases rises. So it's just like, when is the point when they're just gonna be like, okay, this is like our reality now? Like, do you get me? Because like every time it's summer now, so the cases are gonna rise because everyone's gonna be out more. So throughout the whole summer, they're gonna keep on delaying it. I feel like.
I understand.
So
I do
like,
understand.
when's the end point?
Yeah. I actually do understand what you're saying there. I do see that they could just keep repressing it every single month or so, and after a while, it could get a bit dragging and very, very annoying. But if it's like, if they do it again, say in July, if they say it for another 4 weeks, be annoying, but that to me again wouldn't be too much of a big deal. If they did it then afterwards, like in August, okay, I would have a problem with it. Because I would have a problem with that. Because they've said it twice. Third time comes, you're not taking this seriously. You're just delaying the inevitable.
What basically Owen is saying, everybody, is he's going to let the government know when his holiday is, and if they do it again, then he's now met a couple of councillors. Now there's going to be a reckoning, Adam. There's going to be a reckoning.
I'm already trying to find the email.
Yeah. Right, but before I do my little closing stuff on that, Adam, what do you reckon?
Well, Rione makes a really good point, and it's one that lots of MPs have been making. That now that the government, has got license to, refresh the restrictions, as many times as they want, when will it stop? And that's something that an awful lot of people have been saying. And actually, one of the Northampton MPs, Andrew Lower, has said that he's going to vote against it, almost for those reasons. I sort of feel like, a bit like AO says, we're dealing with life or death situations here, and if we have to have just 4 more weeks of relatively light restrictions in a lot of areas, and if that's going to save, even if it's just dozens, hundreds, whatever it may be, those additional lives, then I can cope with that. If it's going to give the vaccine program the time to catch up, to give us, as effective a system of protection as we're going to get, then I can accept it. But I think what the government has done badly, amongst other things, is to define exactly what the point is at which they're happy to say, right, we don't need to lock down anymore. We don't need to have these restrictions on how we live our day-to-day lives. But I think I had a very similar sort of emotional reaction to a lot of people when the news was doing the rounds. Just massive frustration. I just want to go back to normal, go back to meeting as many people as I want, going back to a full Franklin's Gardens when I go to watch Saints and all the rest of it, just to actually being able to sort of put this whole, almost 18 months now to into history where we hope it can stay, but it's going to be a bit longer. But I really do think that they need to be clearer on what they're waiting for, and what the definition they're using is of when of safe. When are we going to be safe to return to normal?
I think us asking Boris Johnson to be clear on anything is. Anyway, right. So just to rather than actually discuss it some information about what this extension means. So I'm on the fence. So the extra 4 weeks, as Adam said, it is relatively light. So the previous restriction to a limit of 30 people at a wedding isn't there anymore. They're just suggesting venues do appropriate risk assessments. They're still keeping the 6 people of 2 households indoors for meeting. The pubs can carry on as they are because, I mean, I used to be a publican, and I know that my friends have been working very, very well at changing and making it as safe as possible. So I think they are relatively light, but the argument from the government has been they've opened up the vaccinations to over 18, so basically all the adult population, and they just want to get a few more people with both doses vaccinated before we open up fully. So I completely agree, understand that. But I think people should look at it themselves. So the Delta variant, since we kind of discovered it, has at the weekend, I can't remember the exact number. It was between 40 and 45 people had died with the Delta variant. And half of those people that died didn't have the vaccine at all. So it does seem to say that the vaccination helps and is a protection against it. So just have a look at it. There have definitely been less deaths, but more hospitalizations, excuse me. And the majority of the COVID positive rates have been in the schools, which I'm not surprised because you forced all the kids to go to school in very small classrooms with like 45 of them. Of course they're going to get positive. But from my experience the last few weeks of actually going to a school, the kids are actually doing everything they should. You know, all the kids are keeping the distance from me. They're asking me actively for hand sanitizer and all that kind of stuff when we're doing stuff. So you can't, what I'm trying to point out, you can't blame the youth. Right, anyway, so we're at that stage. We discussed loads of stuff there, guys. I'm definitely going to need a glass of water after this. Right, so we're at our stage where we want to talk about something fun or something nice to put off our week, or showing it off. So Owen, you've got 3, so you can go first.
Yeah, I've got 3. So the first one, James and Richard already know, because obviously we play this game on Mondays and Wednesdays. Sea of Thieves have just released a new trailer out for a new thing coming soon. I'm not sure if anyone else has ever seen it, but I'm just going to say, spoiler warning, Captain Jack Sparrow and the Pirates of the Caribbean is now in it. So I'm fully excited for that. Believe me, I'm going to be playing the hell out of it.
Everyone's just going to be saying repeatedly, "Where has the rum gone?" Over and over again.
Oh, wait. That's why.
Your second one, Owen?
Okay, the second one is today I got to stand in one of my favourite stores just because I could. The Lego store in Milton Keynes, because I could. I love going in there. Believe me, leaving me alone in there, it goes like clockwork in there. I'll be in there for as long as until you drag me out. The third thing, which I think is the most important thing, which is why I left it last. Yesterday afternoon, I went for an audition to Alter Ego Theatre Company.
Woohoo!
So it's not an actual role that I've gone for. It's just to get onto their books, as it were. So that if they're casting again, they can call me back up and I'll do an audition for whatever character or role that they have specifically asked me to. So it's getting me into the industry, which is the big step for me.
Excellent.
Great.
Love it.
Great. Right. At what point would money start coming in?
Yeah, technically speaking, if this is a paying job, so I will get some sort of payment. Thank God
wow!
And then Adam and I, because we're theatre goers, will come see you.
Yes.
Yay!
Alter Ego is a Northampton-based touring theatre company, so they will tour across around whole of Northamptonshire, all over England and maybe even Scotland. I think I'm not entirely certain about that, but I do know at the moment their recent show that they're currently rehearsing goes out on tour next week. I know that for certain. I don't know the name of it, but I just know that they've got a show going out next week.
Amazing, wicked, love it. Right, so Rioni, what's your happy thing from the week?
My nieces came over to stay at my house this weekend, so I got to spend a lot of time with them.
Oh, that's really nice. What did you get to do with them? Did you get in the paddling pool at all?
No, I need to buy one of those actually. But we went to the park and them barbecue trays things. We done a little barbecue in the park.
Oh, love it.
So, yeah.
Love it. Yeah, all over the weekend, all I heard was like when walking down the street was kids in paddling pools in back gardens. It was made me very jealous because I live in a flat without a garden. Right, Charlotte, what's your happy thing? I live in a flat.
Well, I had the weekend off work, so I had barbecue with my family on Sunday.
Everyone having barbecues. That sounds lovely. When's the next one, Charlotte? So we can all come round, socially distanced, obviously.
Whenever you want.
Yeah! there you go, Adam. Tell that to your colleagues in Angel. TV. We take you for a barbecue as well. Ayo, what's your happy thing?
Yeah, a friend has invited me over to barbecue on Saturday. Looking forward to that. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Wicked. Love it. Barbecues. Richard, are you having a barbecue?
No.
No? Okay. Richard, what's your happy thing? That you're not having a barbecue?
I don't mind having a barbecue. I finished college.
Oh, yes, you've officially finished completely.
Oh,
you?
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because Richard is basically, because he was so bored through the lockdown, basically did all of his work.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, like you're supposed to. It's got nothing to do. How do you feel about it, Richard?
I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
I feel like I've done well.
Yeah, I think you have. From the stuff you've told me, I think you've done really well, mate. You've done good. Does that mean that we need to do more streams then to fill your time?
Probably,
right, cool. Right, Adam, what has been your happy thing this last week? Is it because he can't hear? I can't. Hello, Adam. Adam. His happy thing is me singing at him on Free2talk TV. What should I sing? Let's sing "Luck Be a Lady Tonight" because he likes this. It's from Guys and Dolls. No? Right, okay. Well, I will do mine. I've got a few to announce, so I've just put a link in the chat. So I am. Yes, I can. Can you hear us?
I can, yes, for the moment.
Yes, right. Right, okay. We're just saying what your happy thing was.
At the weekend?
Yeah, well, no, just your happy thing for the last week that you want to share.
Lots more smiles from Arthur, my little boy.
Yes.
Getting very smiley, and he's just started eating. Well, it's not quite proper food; it's just mushed up food. But it's the first time he's not been just drinking milk, so he's loving that. And he's growing very quickly.
Bless him. Yeah, he is a little cutie. Right, so I've got a few things, a couple of announcements. So on Thursday, I am supporting the University of Northampton STAR, so that's Student Action for Refugees. It's Refugee Week. They've got some young people who are also refugees, basically who've put on a show. You'll be able to see that on Thursday at 7 o'clock till 8. So I'm basically being the backstage producer for that, which I'm quite excited about. You can see that announced on our Facebook, and it should be on Instagram if you so wish. The other thing, obviously, I've got coming up, which I'm going to share, is on the 26th of June, we've got a fundraiser for Free2talk through our Twitch channel, Free2talk Gaming. I will be playing a game with some friends of mine and another Twitch streamer. And basically, whilst voting, whilst watching, you can vote on basically the game being mean to me and bullying me if you want. So it will be fun. So the game will go, do you want to be nice to James? And A will go, no, I hate that guy. And then the game will eat my face off. Right. And then I've got a video and a picture as my happy thing. So I'm going to do the video first because it's a video from our Free2talk Gaming. And it's a little excerpt which should go live at 6 on our Facebook page, but here it is as well. It's all right. You don't need a microphone because Because Owen just tells us everything that's going on.
Yes, I do.
Oh God!
Yes.
Oh, I didn't mean to say enemy here.
There we go. So there was a little video of we were playing a game and a shark jumps out of the water and I had to change my pants. Is the answer to that, basically. Right. So there's been a little bit of a theme with some of the pictures and videos I've been showing involving animals, right? So Ayo, you laughed the most when we saw the ducks in the back of a police car, didn't you? And we were trying to work out what they did. And I think I found out what they did. It was breaking and entering. But I'm really scared of that duck. I mean, like, super duck there.
That does quackers for doing that.
Hey! There we go. Right, so that is the end of our show. Adam, I'll end the broadcast, but we can still stay on to say our personal goodbyes. But everybody, thank you for coming on. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your questions. Thank you, Owen. Thank you, Rioni. Thank you, Charlotte, Ayo, and Richard, and our special guest, Adam Brown, who again has educated us loads about politics. I think it's really good.
Yeah.
So I've got confirmation from one other councillor to come on in a couple of weeks. Still hoping to get the mayor on next week. Oh, look. See, we've got a proud wife here. A very proud wife. So she'd come on to say, well done, you. But yes, everyone say goodbye to the stream. Goodbye,
Bye,
stream.
guys.
Bye.